heart of 2019, Jermaine Cole stood at the crossroads of his own legacy, a man straddling the fault line between the rap game's past and its future, embodying the weight of the middle child. The streets of Queens, where he'd migrated from Fayetteville's raw edges, pulsed with a new rhythm, trap beats and mumble flows clashing with the lyrical grit he'd grown up idolizing. Cole was 34, no longer the hungry kid spitting for Roc Nation's approval, but not yet the elder statesman revered like Jay or Nas. He was the bridge, caught between eras, carrying the torch for boom-bap purists while nodding to the sound cloud wave reshaping hip-hop's DNA. His mind churned with contradictions, loyalty to the craft that raised him versus the urge to evolve, to speak to kids who worshipped Lil Pump's chaos as much as they did his own introspective bars. The studio was his sanctuary, where he'd wrestle these demons, penning verses that felt like confessions scratched into the walls of his psyche. I'm dead in the middle of two generations, he'd rap, voice low but heavy, each syllable a reckoning with his place in a game that both crowned and confined him. The pressure wasn't just artistic, it was personal. Success brought chains, not just the gold kind, but expectations, to mentor, to mediate, to be the voice for those still clawing up from the mud. He thought of his son, barely 3, and the world he'd inherited, a world where Cole's choices, from the beats he picked to the beefs he dodged, would ripple outward. The streets still called, their siren song laced with memories of close calls, dice games gone sour, egos sparking like live wires, moments where pride could have cost him everything. He'd seen friends fall to that trap, chasing clout or settling scores, their names now just echoes and ciphers. Cole's middle ground was a tightrope, balance ambition with humility, flex wealth without losing soul. He'd cruise through Atlanta, where he laid roots, passing trap houses and high-rises, each a reminder of the duality he navigated daily. The money was good, the plaques were piling, but the hunger never left, gnawing like a debt unpaid. He'd spit about it raw. Everything grows, it's destined to change, a nod to the impermanence of glory, the need to adapt without selling out. The middle child in him related to the overlooked, the hustlers grinding without spotlight, the fans who saw themselves in his struggle. He'd weave their stories into his, tales of ambition tangled with doubt, of chasing dreams while ducking demons. Late nights in the booth, he'd channel it all, his mother's prayers, his father's absence, the weight of being a black man in a world quick to judge. The beat from Middle Child was a beast, lacing it with horns that screamed urgency, drums that hit like heartbeats under pressure. Cole's flow was surgical, slicing through the noise of an industry obsessed with viral moments, his bars a plea for unity in a fractured culture. He'd seen the game split, Uggs versus New Jacks, lyricists versus vibe curators, and refused to pick a side. Instead, he built a bridge, his verses a blueprint for survival. Stay true, but stay sharp. The middle was lonely, though. Friends drifted, some to fame, others to the grave, leaving Cole to navigate the in-between alone. He'd reflect on it during drives down I-85, windows down, the city's pulse syncing with his own. The temptation to lean into one side, a commercial king or underground goat, loomed, but he resisted, knowing his strength was in the balance. His pen was his compass, guiding him through the chaos, each rhyme a step toward clarity. The middle child didn't just survive, he thrived, turning tension into triumph, proving you could honor the past while building the future, all without losing yourself. The spotlight burned hotter now, the weight of being hip-hop's middle child a crown and a cross. Cole stood tall, but the perch was precarious, every move dissected by fans, critics, and the streets. He still claimed, Dreamville, his label, was more than a buzziness, it was a family, a refuge for artists like Jid and Baz, who carried the same hunger he once had. He poured himself into their come-up, producing, mentoring, dropping gems in late-night sessions that smelled of weed and ambition. But the role came with ghosts, the fear of failing those who looked to him, of being the big brother who couldn't save everyone. He'd seen too many. Mac Miller's death hit hard, a reminder of the toll fame exacted, the drugs and despair lurking behind the glamour. Cole's bars on Middle Child were a war cry and a prayer, urging unity while confessing his own battles. I'm trying to make $1 million off a rap tune. The irony wasn't lost on him, preaching authenticity while chasing checks, navigating a game where integrity and success often pulled opposite ways. He'd walk through New York, hood up, blending into the crowd, but eyes still caught him, fans whispering his name like a secret code. The streets respected him, not just for the hits but for the choices of turning down beef with Kanye, dodging the trap of diss tracks that could have derailed his path. He'd learned early, pride was a killer, but so was silence. The middle ground meant speaking truth without malice, calling out the game's flaws while uplifting its potential. His verses carried the weight of both, weaving stories of struggle with threads of hope. He thought of his daughter on the way, the second child who'd know a different Colia, one softened by fatherhood but hardened by the industry's grind. The duality never left. The poet who poured his soul into 16s versus the man who had to play the game, shaking hands with execs who'd never know the Ville's dirt. He'd flash back to those nights in Fayetteville, freestyling under streetlights, when the dream was pure, untainted by boardroom politics or social media wars. Now, the stakes were higher, every track a statement, every move a chess play. He'd sit in the studio, T- or Boy Wanda on the boards, crafting sounds that married 90s soul with 2019's edge, a nod to the Augs and the kids alike. The horns in Middle Child weren't just flair, they were a battle cry, a call to arms for those caught in the in-between. Cole's flow switched tempos like moods, reflective one bar, defiant the next, mirroring the push-pull of his own existence. He'd rap about the trip and not just the streets, but the mental one, the cycle of doubt, the lure of easy wins, the cost of staying true. His middle child status was his edge, letting him see both sides, glory and grit, fame and failure. He'd mentor his crew with the same urgency, telling them to guard their souls as fiercely as their bars. The industry was a maze, full of traps disguised as triumphs, and Cole navigated it with a compass forged in loss and lessons. He'd drive through Raleigh, past the colleges where he once hustled mixtapes, feeling the ghost of that younger self cheering him on. The fans felt it too, chanting Middle Child at festivals, their voices a chorus of the overlooked, the grinders, the ones who refused to break. Cole's legacy was building, not just in plaques but in impact, a proof you could rise without falling to the game's temptations. He'd end those drives back at the studio, pen in hand, ready to carve another chapter, knowing the middle wasn't just a place, it was a mission, a vow to hold the line for those who came before and those yet to see.